Welcome to another episode of the Fair Chase podcast. We're finishing up our turkey series that we've been talking a little bit about turkey hunting. Matt, I'm guessing you're doing some turkey hunting. And have you hunted turkey yet in Montana?
Yes, I have. I
And
did. I hunted 2 weekends.
and
You're allowed two, and I
yeah,
got my two.
excellent. So I
You're
should have had you talk about turkeys a couple weeks ago.
that it that's not completely accurate. You could shoot five if you travel around.
Right, right.
One year I did that. I got the Montana Grand Slam.
That's a pretty sweet. That's a great year.
Yeah, I traveled. The farthest I got from home was 9 hours from home. We got a real wide state.
Yeah, yeah. Driven through it the long way before. Yeah, it takes a while.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't have that kind of time this year. Turkey numbers aren't always great here, but they're pretty good now.
Yeah.
Just for your listeners,
I
it'll be too late by next year.
Yeah.
They'll be back tanked again by next year. So
I hear it a lot. I have never. I hear turkey numbers are dropping, but I've not seen it by us yet. We live in kind of a weird area. Or hunt in a weird area. We were talking ahead of time here, but in upper Michigan, where there's just not a lot of people that go turkey hunting there, and so we've got a couple spots that they just always come to, and so it's great. So I've never seen a dip in it, but I know I have heard that numbers are not great, or they're going down. I think they've going down.
No, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean that that turkeys here were on a downward slide like they are in the Southeast.
Yeah.
Their numbers are really good this year. That's true.
Yeah.
The bit about by next year it'll be over was just like a joke, like that I didn't want more people to come to.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I get you. Strike that.
Are they in the UP yet?
I don't know. I would imagine. I've never hunted them up there. I have no idea. I should know, being like representing my state. Well, I have no clue.
Man, the turkey situation in Michigan is fascinating. When I was a kid, there was one little bunch of them up by Baldwin that we would see.
Yep.
We had our family had a friend, a dear friend up there that lived up there, and when we go up there, he would take us to see them, and they kind of hung out in the same zone all the time. And then when I got to be in my mid-teens, they started showing up around where I grew up, an hour south.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're freaking everywhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah, they're everywhere. I see them everywhere. They are in the UP. I just looked it up. According to the Hunter's Digest, you can hunt them there. So that's not necessarily saying that they're there, but I would assume they're in the UP.
As the climate continues to moderate, it could be the next the next best place to hunt turkeys, right?
Yeah, it's like the new South is actually now the
UP. That's a kind of a dream of mine to come back to Michigan and hunt turkey sometime.
You let us know. We got some spots for you. We'll bring you back to your old stomping grounds and show you what's been happening since you left.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is the beginning and kind of we're resuming our story series. It's something we've been doing for like 6 months. For you, those of you who have listened, you probably remember how it goes. Basically, we have different people on who I go in assuming that they have an interesting hunting story. Like, we haven't talked really much prior to this podcast, Matt, but brought you on the assumption that you had at least one good story to tell in your arsenal. So the idea is you'll introduce yourself. We'll talk a little bit about who you are and what you do. And then we'll talk about maybe a good hunting story you've been a part of.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Fair Chase podcast. We're going to take a few seconds here to thank a few sponsors that helped make this show possible.
We are big fans of having glass with you when you're in the woods. So whether we're turkey hunting, bear hunting, deer hunting, whatever we're doing, we're bringing some sort of glass. Actually, one of the new fun pieces of glass that we've added to our collection were the UHD 18x56s.
Big boys.
I like them because then you don't need to bring a full spotter, and you can still do pretty well. Yeah. I like the 2 eyes. So we love Vortex. We use a lot of their optics on our rifles, on our chest when we're out.
Rangefinders,
rangefinders, amazing.
So we'll love them. Go check them out. And actually, if you're going to buy some, check out Midway USA and use the promo code TFC10 for 10% off your order. I promise you won't be disappointed. Go check them out, Vortex Optics.
HuntWise is an awesome app. There's a lot of them out there. This one's definitely our favorite. They're local here in Grand Rapids, have their headquarters here. They have an awesome HuntCast 2.0 that's going to give you weather prediction, wind prediction, anything based off the pin and property that you're hunting to give you the best day to get out there and hunt. So it's kind of a no-brainer. Go get this app, huntwise.com.
It's no secret we've been shooting method arrows for a long time. Well, it might be because they used to be called vector arrows. Their method arrows now are super tough, great shooting arrows, great weight. And what's really cool about them is you enter your bow specs in, weight, draw length, all that stuff, and they will send
no charts, no more charts.
No more.
Let them deal with it.
The smart dudes who we've had on our show in the past figure it out for you, send you ready to go arrows,
ready to shoot.
Go check them out. Method Archery. We've shot a lot of bows, but for the past 5 or so years, we've been shooting prime bows. Love the way they shoot, super stable. And what we're really excited about, great warranty. And this year they rolled out the RevX series, which is pretty sweet. We've been talking about the different RevXs we're going to be shooting.
And you're going in the 6Y?
I'm deciding to shoot the 36, which is a
the
longer
only
axis,
reason he's choosing the 36
is because I figure the bigger the bow, the bigger the buck. So we're going to test that out. Follow us this year to see if that actually happens. But that's what I'm shooting. You're shooting the RevX 4. Yep. So anyways, we love Prime. Michigan company. Great guys. Go check them out. G5prime.com. We put a lot of miles on whether we're hunting.
Boots.
Yeah, on our boots. Whether it's Alaska out west, even here in Michigan.
Let's just say the muck boots were left in the truck.
Yes. So we need something that's comfortable, that'll keep us dry, that's durable, and actually we like a little stiffer soled when we're hunting from our platform when we're saddle hunting. So we wear Lathrop & Son boots. I've been wearing the Mountain Hunter Encompass, and yours is the
Mountain Hunter Elite.
Great boots. Great guys from down in Illinois, the Lathrop brothers. Had them on an episode in the past. Go check it out. Go check out their boots, Lathrop & Sons.
If you didn't already know that James and I are saddle hunters, then you do now. And if you don't like it, then go listen to somebody else because we're going to talk about saddles. We wear Trophy Line tree saddles because we think they're awesome. And they come out with some awesome new products all the time. They just came out with the new Venatic saddle that is seriously the best saddle I've ever sat in. And I've sat in quite a bit of them. They also have the new Onyx platform out.
I spent some time on it this fall.
I've spent some time on it. It's pretty sweet. And they're going to continue to come out with sweet products just like those two. So stay tuned to them. They've got social media, trophyline.com. And save yourself 10%. TFC 10.
It's no use having an awesome bow if you don't have great accessories. So sights, stabilizers, things like that. And so that's why we chose to work with Redline Bow Accessories. And so those guys are coming out with amazing new things, whether it be new stabilizers or sights like this. If you're watching on our YouTube or video podcast, this new torch sight. So we're huge fans of this sight. Double pin. You know what? Go check out our past episode with them or check out their website. There's a ton to like about this site. Their stabilizers are great, and actually some of their quivers are incredible.
Yes.
So go check them out. Listen to the last episode we did with them. Oh, and save yourself 10% with the code TFC10.
So before we get into that, you want to say who you are, introduce yourself, what you do?
My name is Matt Rinella. I'm a research scientist. I'm an ecologist. My work focuses a lot on trying to put screwed up land back together, like not actually doing it, but doing experiments that improve the process. So figuring out how to get vegetation established, desirable native vegetation established in places that have been degraded by mining or weed invasions or overgrazing.
Like things like garlic mustard, would that be a
yeah, well,
invasion?
that would be a Michigan version of the sorts of things I deal with. Out here,
Gotcha.
It's more things like plants like cheatgrass that grow not in the trees but out in the prairie, or other plants like that you have there, like knapweed and spurge. And then I also work on the CRP program a lot. You know the CRP program?
What's that? Yeah, yeah, the
Yeah,
conservation or something
yeah.
reserve program. Yeah, yeah.
That was instituted as a way to protect highly erodible farmland. The
Gotcha.
government paid people to paid farmers to take erodible land out of production and put it in perennial plants. And there's always been a push to get more value out of it. I mean, it's got good wildlife value.
Mhm.
And these days, because of declines in pollinator insects, there's a push to try to get pollinator plants to grow on CRP.
Interesting.
So
Like
that's,
what?
well, anything, anything from non-natives like alfalfa and sweet clover
Yeah.
to natives like in our part of the world, yarrow and blanket flower and purple prairie clover and echinacea, you name it.
Interesting. I hunt a lot of. It's always a CRP field at some point in the fall. I'll be in one. So yeah.
Oh, does Michigan have a program that compensates? Maybe it's run by DNR that compensates landowners for allowing public access.
Yes, the Hunters Access Program, HAP. So I've hunt on several tracks of HAP land. I probably shouldn't say exactly where because they can be pretty good hunting if no one goes there.
They could
And
be
yeah, we
pretty.
get them.
They could be pretty happy.
Yeah, they're a pretty happening spot. Yeah, actually, I do great for rabbits there, and lots of small game. There's no deer there, so if anybody's listening, want to go deer hunt there, I never see any
Okay.
deer hunt.
They don't. They won't enroll properties that
Yeah,
have deer.
no, they go elsewhere. Probably in public land somewhere. So stay over there.
I've grown increasingly concerned with the future of the sort of hunting that I've always been interested in, which is publicly accessible, non-pay hunting. Buy a tag and go hunting.
Yeah,
And everybody can be concerned about that type of hunting because it is in the quantity and the quality of it are in free fall. And I could go on and on providing you concrete evidence about how that is the case throughout this country. Leasing and privatization of wildlife are through the roof. The more their land that's leased, the less that's open to publicly accessible, non-pay, banging on the door, bringing a guy a cake for letting you on type of hunting that has defined America for centuries. That is declining. Crowding is increasing and has been for decades. During the 80s, the decade of the 1980s, there was something like 20 articles written about academic articles written about the impact of crowding on hunter satisfaction.
Mhm.
Obviously, these are written by recreation planners, biologists, academics. Obviously, the effect is not good. More
Right.
crowding, less satisfaction. In the most recent decade, there's been not 25 or 20, there's been 100 of those articles written, if that gives you any indication.
So it's getting serious. So
It's
you're
getting
saying
it's getting way more serious. And then finally, so the big three that no one will talk about in the hunting sphere, because hunting personalities are responsible in large part, for the big three. The big three are crowding, lack of access, and lost opportunity. And by lost opportunity,
is that like
I mean,
leasing? Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Leasing, crowding, and lost opportunity. Lost opportunity is units that used to be over the counter going to draw. Bag limits being reduced. Those are the norm throughout this country.
Right. Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
and I just finally got to a point where I couldn't take it anymore that nobody with a voice in hunting is at all seemingly concerned about it. They'll talk about habitat and the importance of habitat because they can argue that they're not negatively impacting that, although I would argue that they are. I mean, because hunting promotion brings more and more and more people in, and it's making public lands in most of the country inhospitable to wildlife due to the intense hunting pressure. So, yeah, I have started a little, I don't know what you'd call it, a movement, an information campaign called the Hunt Quietly movement. We have a podcast, we have a Reddit account, we have an Instagram account, we have a Facebook page.
You're a Reddit man?
I
said, are you a Reddit man?
I've never seen our Reddit account.
Neither. I asked because I've never been on Reddit either, but I'm resisting it. But I didn't know if that was like your kind of thing.
I can't see our Instagram account even if I want to, because I had the administrator change the password and block me. I just am too easily drawn into the drama of it, and we'll post something and then I'll be refreshing the page and checking the comments every 10 minutes. So what I say that we do, what I've been saying, what we do is we're an information campaign, and I say we because there's 7 or 8 of us now that are working on things on a consistent basis. The information campaign geared towards encouraging hunters to spend their time and money and direct their eyeballs in ways that align with the things that they value. And there's nowhere else for them to get that than, in my view, from us, because the alternative are media sources that are contributing to the big 3. Not all of them. Some of them are just, some media sources just aren't focused on the big 3. I don't know with your effort if you are or not.
No, we just like to hunt, and we like to tell hunting stories and learn about hunting. Like there's no I can't say our goal is to increase hunting. I don't know. We just don't. That's not what we focus on. So no, that is an interesting thing. So the crowding, lack of access, leasing, and you talk about hunting personalities, which is kind of an interesting thing. I mean, you come from a family where your brother's with a very famous hunter. Is all hunting personality promotion bad, or is it ones that are aimed at things that aren't telling you the whole picture? It seems like you're saying a lot of times these groups are saying, if they're promoting it, you need better habitat or this, but at the same time, maybe they're getting paid by the state to promote hunting X in their state, which is, you hear a lot about that. How does that work? What's a good balance look like, or can there even be one struck by someone who's kind of a hunting personality?
If you could find a form of being a hunting celebrity that doesn't involve shooting things for other people's entertainment and using dead and dying animals to sell products, then maybe I could get behind it.
Sure.
But there's none of those.
None.
You can't be a hunting celebrity without trotting out dead wildlife on social media and TV.
Right. Yeah. Otherwise you're just walking around.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So, it'd be kind of tough, but I mean, that's what makes a hunting celebrity is their willingness to show you what they kill.
It's so funny that you say this, and I would literally look over, and in front of me right now, and this was not planned. Can you see what I'm holding up? Is that backwards?
Oh, Theodore Roosevelt, Good Hunting.
All right. So he wrote, and this is like as a kid, I was big fan. Like I'd get the hunting story magazines, even growing up, I read books like this. I love a good.
So that could be a good way. That could be one way.
I asked because I wonder about a guy like Teddy Roosevelt, right? I mean, he was a hunting personality in a very different world. He didn't have social media, and who knows what would have happened then. He probably would have been canceled. But that's why I ask. I wonder, and I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying, man. I don't disagree. I mean, you're right. It's harder to. I used to be able to go and ask for permission to hunt on people's lands all the time. You go knock on the door, like you said, you offer to do some chores or whatever. I've tried that. I moved recently. I tried it again. I called you with the internet. You can call pretty much anybody that has. You can check how much land they have, and you can get their phone number. So if you imagine with a good hour or two of your time, you can ask a lot of people. You can drive out to their house, whatever. I didn't get a single yes. Everything was leased. If it was at all open to hunting, someone had leased it. So I see that.
And
I mean,
my wager is that is at least, I don't even have to, I know for a fact that is partly due to hunting promotion.
right. You think so? Yeah, okay.
I think of hunting television and hunting social media as free advertising for people that want to commodify their
Right.
game holding property. How could it be construed elsewise? And it's not even an argument I have to make. I mean, the hunting industry admits that readily themselves. There are 2 hunting TV programs right now. One's called The Hunting Landman and one's called Whitetail Properties, where they show you they show you attractive hunting content, and then at the end of the show try to sell you the property.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not like I have to. I just discovered this myself. It's not even something I have to argue. They readily, tacitly admit it.
Yeah.
That's
so weird.
what hunting. That is what hunting entertainment is. It may be other things,
But that also is one of the
but
things.
it is that. It is that.
Well, I think it's and again, you see crowding, like you see way more people in public land than I used to be able to go a certain distance out, and I would be all alone because anybody that I would see would be the first couple 100 yards in the woods and whatever. Now there's guys like way back there. There's always people around. And so I see that. I actually think one thing that maybe isn't attributed to hunting personalities is like there was always the middle ground of people who own land that maybe didn't hunt, but they didn't have a problem with hunting or something like that. I feel like that middle is shrunk. So it's either like you're all for hunting and you never let anybody on, or you're totally against hunting and like you get chased off by asking. Like those are the only 2 that I would bump into asking. There's no like, hey, you can, I don't really hunt. I don't know. You can go hunt. Just stay out of, don't leave anything out or whatever. I used to have that kind of permission and I haven't gotten it in a long time.
Oh, yeah. So in the same way that so many other things have become polarized, like our politics.
Yeah, I wonder about that.
Our stances on reproductive health, our stances on the environment, everything you can imagine. Yeah, I could see where you're either energized as an anti-hunter or energized as a hunter more than just having a centrist view on it.
Yeah, I was at the. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that's.
I was at we get our food from like it's called a CSA. It's like a community. I don't know, agriculture, community share agriculture. Anyways, you basically buy a share in someone's farm, and every week you go pick up your vegetables, right?
Yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, they're great. Yeah, it's why we get most of our food. And so I showed up there this week, and I just got back from Alaska bear hunting, and this girl's very talkative always, and asking me about how's your week. I was like, great. And I realized I'm like, oh, I was, out fishing and hunting for bears. And like the minute I said that, it was like the conversation was like, she kind of like quiet and looked down and was like, oh, all right. That's apparently the CSA pickup is not the time to talk about bear hunting.
It does seem like something that might not go well.
I was like, I should have thought of that. Yeah.
The CSA crowd. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they raise livestock and slaughter them.
They do. They really like the people that normally like the owners were friends with, but this was apparently a newbie. So anyways, yeah, so this is an interesting cause. This is an interesting push, and I wonder
Have you
how,
ever heard a hunting celebrity say crowding is one of the biggest problems in hunting today?
I
Would
don't
you,
think so.
in your experience, is it one of the biggest problems in crowding today?
Yeah, maybe that could be true. Yeah. Yes, it
So,
is.
like, shouldn't somebody be pointing out that that's one of the biggest problems in hunting today?
Yeah.
You
No.
know,
Yeah. So how do you fix it? So like, what's the fix for this? Because like, I agree. I would love more space. I would love more time and like less. I want to be alone. Like, how do you fix this? Do you just tune out social media? Which doesn't that seem like, I mean, impossible almost?
I certainly do. I don't enjoy it. Social media isn't good for me at all. I think it'd be way better. Your time is way better shooting your bow than watching these douchebags on Instagram.
Yeah, that's right.
So it
Setting
seems
a trap.
plausible. I mean, my message is like, if you really are in it for the hunting,
Yeah.
not the hunting culture, not the hunting entertainment, then yeah, stop following these YouTubers and go do something productive with your time. You know, there's nothing to be lost. It's
No.
all bullshit anyway.
And it
You
means
know,
it could
so
be deleted tomorrow and it would be weird, but it wouldn't actually affect your life other than you feeling uncomfortable because you don't have your go-to thing. It's very true.
yeah, and people come at me with all kinds of. They try to distort my arguments in various ways to try to make me look selfish and discredit me and all this. It's just so funny because if I was trying, they'll say, you're just trying to keep it all for yourself, and you don't understand the barriers to entry for an adult onset hunter and all this stuff. I'm like, if I was trying to protect hunting for myself, there are so many better ways I could do it
Right.
than being involved in what I'm doing here. I just
Yeah.
go get a lease.
I was just gonna say you get a bunch of
I
leases.
go get a lease for myself. I don't have kids. I have a great salary, and I live in a place where the cost of living is very low. I could just go buy up some hunting opportunity for myself. I'm trying to do something for the future, for the type of hunting that I care about, which is non-pay hunting, where you get something by your wits, not with your billfold.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, so yeah,
Well,
I lost my train of thought there.
no, I was actually going to say something about that too. It's like it is an interesting argument to make against someone whose only message in public has ever been one thing. So it's not like you've got some hidden agenda or anything. And it's like, yeah, it's just interesting. And I think a lot of it ties to social media. I can't say there are a lot of good things that come out of social media, although, and like, oh, that's what I know what it was. You mentioned low barrier to entry or
Oh
whether,
yeah, that stuff.
yeah,
So here I'm a guy that my dad taught me how to put up a tree stand,
right.
and maybe gave me some pointers on how to shoot a bow that weren't very good. Because if I could go back and erase from my brain any memory of archery and start all over,
Me too.
6 months from now I'd be a better archer than I ever have been before.
100%. Totally agree.
So I read maybe when I moved out west, I read maybe 2 hunting books on hunting out west. So yeah, this idea that you need these like hunting gods on YouTube to show you the way.
And plus, I will say this. So some of it is helpful, right? Some of it's
Sure,
helpful.
sure.
But here's the thing. Like at this point in time, if you stopped right now and you didn't add anything to the library of content, I think you'd have most things covered. I think you've got plenty. Like my point is like between blogs and websites and videos, and it's already all out there. There's probably nothing new under the sun that you're going to be adding at this point to field dressing a javelina or some these random things. I'm sure it's all out there.
And if that's what is motivating these people, it's not. It's money and
Right.
fame. But the YouTubers, etc. It's money and fame that motivates them. But if it was, if instead of that, it was sincere desire to show people how to be a hunter, then there'd be very, very little need for dead and dying animals. Only when you're cleaning one would you need it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, I mean, if you wouldn't show it, yeah, I guess
But
that's an interesting point. I don't know. I can't say. I don't know
Randy
about that.
Newberg,
Yeah.
Newberg says that when he shows like conservation footage and how to,
Mm-hmm.
he gets 0 views. But when he shows something getting killed, he gets a ton of views. So,
We see
it's
that.
partially our our fault, you
Yeah.
know. We're just okay. It takes 2 to tango. You know, the hunting celebrities are giving people what they want, but they also have to understand when they reflect that maybe what the people want isn't the best thing for hunting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that usually the forethought or like long-term thinking, like that's usually not what people want. And when they get on the computer or they,
Yeah.
you know, yeah, I don't think
So
they're
anyway,
thinking
that's
long-term.
what. Yeah. So anyway, that's why I'm on your podcast right now. Why I have a podcast of my own.
How's it going? How's this cause going? How's it progressing? Where do you see you heading? How is it?
I don't know. I some days think that half the days I think that this is ridiculous and immature and pointless. And then I'll think, yeah, but so many positive things have come about through history from people that just said, no, this isn't right, and argued for something fresh and new. And then sometimes I'll get glimmers of hope. Yesterday, 24 hours ago, so that you can help me figure out whether or not this is something to be happy about or not, I put up a video of me giving a talk at the Pope and Young banquet.
Okay.
And I laid out the whole Hunt Quietly agenda there. I didn't do a very good job. Like the information was good, but my delivery was kind of shitty. I don't know what was going on there. I just wasn't on.
You can't bat
Well,
1,000.
yeah, but anyway, I am looking here, 435 views.
Where is this on?
It's on YouTube.
Oh, I don't use the YouTube very much.
If you type in Hunt Quietly, it'll come up.
Okay. Yeah, that's. I mean,
So
yeah, it is a weird thing.
All I'm trying to do is get people to think for themselves and dispense with the dogma that the hunting industry and the hunting media and the hunting celebrities have infected everybody with, and just think for themselves. And I'm putting forth a set of ideas for people to critically evaluate. Evaluate my ideas, I would say, as critically as you'd evaluate anybody else's. But I think there's a lack of, I mean, anybody that's engaged in something that's tenuous or precious, like hunting is, you got to think that it is, right? Yeah. It's not a foregone conclusion that your kids are going to have the hunting opportunity that you've had.
Right.
It's just not. So there's some obligation to think through what the threats are, what the opportunities are, how do we protect it, how do we make it better, how do we prevent it from becoming pay-to-play European model of wildlife management. And my ask is that people think that through for themselves. Maybe people will by and large think, I don't give a shit all about all that. I want to pay 10 grand a year and have this farm on, period. And then you have your answer, you know. But that I would rather go metal detecting. Yeah. I'd rather buy beef and metal detect than pay to hunt somebody's property, a bunch of money to hunt somebody's property. it makes it like Disneyland hunting. It's not getting sustenance through your wits.
Yeah.
It's just getting it
You get to shoot
through
like
your billfold.
your
You
cow.
know,
Like, yeah, I know
I used to play guitar a lot,
Mhm.
and I still play it once in a while. But I'd be in college, or yeah, college, or even after college, be at a party, and we'd be passing guitar around and playing covers. And a lot of time I'd be thinking, why are we listening? Why are we playing these covers? Why not just put on the artist's version? You know, they did a way better job than we could do. And it's their artistic output. Why, you know, it's the same kind of thinking with
because you
this.
don't
Like,
get girls. If you don't get girls, if you put on the radio, if you can show them you know how to play the guitar and you're sensitive, that's the only reason anybody plays the guitar, I'm convinced.
Yeah, right. So it's just the same thing. Like, wait a minute, I could go to the store and just buy all the meat I need for the year, or I can give this guy $10,000 and then go out and try to shoot it.
Yeah, it is weird. It's a weird thought. I totally agree. It's the difference between, like, I mean, you're not honing your field craft. You're not learning more about an animal, which is most of the thing that I like about hunting. You don't have any crazy stories happen when you're, at a preserve. Like, you have them happen when you're, half a mile in the swamp somewhere that you've never been, lost a boot. And trying to figure out where this big buck is living that you found on public land, and took a long time to figure out. So yeah, I mean, it's just like, I think at the end of the day, it's much less satisfaction for the type of hunt or experience where you just pay it, you don't do any of the work, and you just show up and enjoy it. Like you said, Disney, or I think of like hopping on like a roller coaster. It's like 3 seconds of excitement, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the counter argument is, there are people that they don't care about the accomplishment.
Mhm.
They care about the experience.
Hmm.
So as long as something comes in and they get to whack it, it doesn't matter that they paid for it. But that's just not why I hunt.
Yeah. No, and there's people too that will have land, and I can respect, it's not kind of my thing, but they'll have a chunk of land maybe they bought or they lease, and they spend all year working the fields and
Farming
making the
deer.
habitat right. Yeah, I
Yeah.
see it more as a farm situation. We talked about that a lot here. I can see why some people like to do that I'm not a farming type. And so it's not really the appeal to me to have a food plot and know my deer by name and all that. But whatever, to each their own. But at least that way, at least you're putting effort into it.
Right.
It's just always, there's just these weird lines that it's like, well, I guess that's fine. Is the line then you have to put work into it that makes it okay, or maybe that's just it's hard to pin this down.
Yeah, I don't want to beat it to death. But one more swipe at it would be, let's say you have a ranch. Let's say a ranch right outside the town where I live. And this ranch land around Miles City, where I live, is become more and more privatized in terms of wildlife, more and more leased over the last 40, 50 years, more and more and more, less and less public access. So whereas if the ranch is open to public hunting through a government program like our block management program that's funded by sportsmen's dollars, maybe there'll be 50 people a year that hunt that ranch. And all 50 of them, some fairly high percentage of them are going to go out there. They're going to do their own little bit of scouting, looking, searching, beating the bush, hiking way back in there, looking, finding their deer, and getting their winter meat. And it's going to bring a lot of people a lot of satisfaction. And a big metric to me is how much, a metric I'm focused on is how much satisfaction does hunting bring society. So there is one way, one model. The other model is that ranch is leased by an outfitter, and the outfitter harvests 2 or 3 deer off that year. Nobody brings out there is interested in shooting a doe, and they just wanted to harvest the biggest 3 deer on the place or whatever. And those 3 deer that are shot, they're put inside, the hunter's put in a Suburban or a pickup truck, driven out somewhere. There's no hunting pressure on the place, so you don't have to hike anywhere. You just tiptoe over the hilltop and look down in the alfalfa field, and there's the deer, and the guide points it out to you, you shoot it. And I just think that that's like a lackluster experience.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not nearly, it's way fewer people getting the experience. And the hunter does, the quote unquote hunter does nothing more than execute the shot.
Yeah.
Which is about 5% of a successful hunt, in my view.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that. No, and I would agree that I at least personally find a lot more satisfaction in just figuring it out myself. It's like you shoot a lot less, but it's you also, I feel like when people look at it, we talked about this a little bit. It's like you look at every season as successful or unsuccessful based on the size of the deer that you shoot. And it's always like if you zoomed out a little bit more, I think you'd find a lot more satisfaction. And just like you say, where it's like, oh, over these 5 years, I figured this out about how deer move in this area or what they. And it's like, oh, it's suddenly then every season, it's like, well, if I don't get one this year, at least it's actually not a loss. In fact, it's probably more of a gain, because usually when you screw something up, you learn more. So you zoom out a little bit and have maybe a bit bigger picture. It just makes hunting way more enjoyable, way more relaxing, way less stressful. 'Cause sometimes people stress, like, you talk about social media where people just constantly put pictures of giant bucks, and now I want a giant buck. Well, I'm going to pay to get it because I can't be seen as a lesser hunter than that guy. And I want to, if you just take a minute and zoom out and think, well, actually it's not season by season, and I'm not comparing with anybody. I think, to what you're saying, satisfaction would go way higher. I think that would probably apply to most things in life.
Yeah. And I don't know how you do it, but I don't know if it's even possible. What I'm trying to do is preserve a system where people can, without putting a bunch of money in it, can work their ass off and have positive hunting experience and enjoy a little success once in a while.
Yep.
Through blood, sweat, and tears,
Yeah. Yep. And I would, I can't say I'm totally for, like, I use the internet all the time to learn things about hunting, right? My dad hunted, but he's not like a huge hunter, so I learn a lot. But at the same time, I would totally agree with, we need just to take a step back. Like, it's too much comparison, too much glorification of the wrong thing. That's flashy stuff with no substance a lot of the time.
Yeah, it's big shot, hero type.
It's
Look at all
cotton
the
candy.
stuff I've killed.
Yeah.
No background. In fact, these people aren't better hunters. They just have to get cherry hookups. I want to. You know who I want, the big shots and the heroes and the people that everybody bends down to and kisses their hand, and people who work on access. How about that? That's what a champion is to me. We don't need more how-to content. We need more access.
Yeah.
Another thing I'm involved with is that we started a nonprofit here. Some friends of mine and I called Hunters for Access. It was called Montana Hunters for Access, but we just changed the name because at least one other state's picking up on it. But your MAP, or what's it called? HAP program.
Yeah. Yep.
So with our program like that, we raise money for appreciation gifts for landowners that are enrolled in the program. And we also do work days on the participating properties, fixing fence,
Oh, cool. Yeah, I'm seeing the map. That
picking up trash,
yeah.
you know, scouting for weeds, what have you. So how is it that I'm doing something more for access than the vast majority of hunting celebrities? How is that? Like, it's not my, I'm not a hunting celebrity. I'm not basing my existence around hunting, my livelihood. Doesn't it seem like people in the hunting sphere the mainstream hunting celebrities, they'd be the ones that are carrying the torch for access? I don't get that.
Yeah, strange. It's hard work though. I mean, it's not very
Instead, they perhaps unintentionally, in a lot of cases intentionally, make access harder.
yeah. Yep.
So I don't
Yeah.
know. There's just a lot to be frustrated about with hunting media and hunting culture.
So in light of all this, and I'm going to ask you to tell a hunting story, and I'm nervous to tell you to tell anything with like you shooting a massive buck at the end. I feel like it has to be very humble in order to really stay on, brand here.
I don't want to be like, I don't want to make it be like I'm some kind of grumpy old troll,
Just
you
crotchety old man.
Yeah, where I'm so principled that I wouldn't even tell a hunting story because that's just hunting. I mean,
That's the best part. Some of the best part of hunting is the great hunting story.
I would be, maybe that's what hunting media should be, is written stories or oral stories. I could get behind that. I could get behind, maybe that would be an improvement if it was just written stories with
but not
maybe a
seeing it.
moral message or a conservation message or an access message. I don't know what
It's a weird line to find.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of hunting media. I just don't, the kind that would serve the sportsman.
Yeah.
That's concerned with publicly accessible non-pay hunting. The model for hunting media, it would have to be, if it was going to be beneficial to that kind of hunter, it would have to be way different than what it actually is. That I feel confident about.
Agreed.
I don't know what
sure.
So a hunting story. About 4 years ago, I think it was either 3 or 4 springs ago. I think it was spring of 20. My brother, I have a brother that lives in Anchorage. He was down, and a friend of mine, the three of us, we went up this river in my boat looking for turkeys. And
Would you just go up and gobble for them, like as you're taking the boat up, or would you get out in spots, or how'd you do that?
Well, we went up and set up a camp. We boated up about 10 miles from this put-in spot and set up a camp in this area that there were some public islands and a chunk of BLM.
Yeah.
Where there was a little bit of public, there was some undeeded. Out here, sometimes there'll be some undeeded property like a created land or old river channel.
Yep.
And we hunted for a few days, and one day I dropped these two guys on the upstream end of this island, and I putted down to the downstream end and parked my boat. I took the anchor out of the boat and kind of worked it into the gravel and went in the woods 20 yards and was just sitting there waiting for them. And they came down, and we walk out to get in the boat, and the boat is about 200 yards downstream, had come off the bank, and the anchor hung up on some rocks. And this thing is, it's just bucking. It's out and it's just, it is, the boat is, looks like it could sink at any second.
What kind of boat is it?
It's a flat, about 18-foot flat bottom
Okay,
boat
sure. Okay.
with a
Yeah.
with a mud motor on it, one of those long tail mud motors.
Yeah.
And we're trying to figure out what we're going to do about this. And it very much feels like I'm toying with trying to swim down there. And my
Yeah,
brother's
right.
like, my brother's like, you are not swimming down there. That water, the water's freezing cold. So we start trying to wade off the island.
Oh, do you have
And we
waders?
can't, no,
Okay, of course.
no,
You're right.
but,
Yeah.
and that doesn't seem to be happening. So we call search and rescue.
Oh, no.
So our camp is downstream about 2 miles from this island.
Mm-hmm.
And search and rescue, they tell us they come and get us, but not till the next day.
Shoot.
And so now we're really motivated to get off this island.
Yeah.
And we start looking. And finally I find a spot where I'm neck deep. Well, not neck deep, maybe boob deep. And I'm able to get across. And these two come across. And we had my dog with us too, but she's a corgi. She only weighs 23 pounds. So we just put her in in a backpack my brother put her in a backpack. So we start walking down the bank to camp and the boat is gone. And which was not surprising to any of us.
Right, because
it was gonna sink any second when we last saw it. When we lost track of it because we went upstream to look for a place to cross. And we start walking downstream, and then it's dark now. And in the moonlight, we spot the boat in this back eddy. And it's only about 30 yards from shore. It had broken loose and drifted down. And I swam out there then and grabbed it. And the front of that boat's still bent up to this day. Just
so you got it though.
Yeah, I did. I got it.
Wow.
No problems. And I never even bothered to fix this, like the bend in it. I don't even know if you could, but it's fine.
It's character anyways. It's a reminder.
Yeah.
Was it that it came like, how did it get unhooked? Did the anchor come undone or how did that?
Yeah, man, there's a very strong case to be made that I have no business being out in the wilderness, because I'm just a kind of a klutzy. I have very bad situational awareness.
Yeah.
Like there's an old cartoon you're probably way too young to remember called Mr. Magoo.
I know of him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a blind dude, or he's 95% blind. And it's just him going through life thinking things are one way when they're they're very different. Just constantly getting into that's me and then you factor in that I do most of my hunting alone.
Yeah, in the backcountry
with some pack llamas and my corgi. Yeah, it's a miracle that something even worse hasn't happened. So after all that, we get back to camp, and you'd think I'd be hyper vigilant after that. The next morning, those guys go off to hunt, and I slept in because I already got a turkey. And I get up late in the morning, and my plan is this is rimrock country. So the riverbanks, there'll be these open meadows, and then there'll be this really steep stuff that goes up to a bench. And I'm gonna go up on that bench and glass. So
I'm what? Just more turkeys?
Yeah, I'm looking for turkeys for them.
Okay. Yeah.
And this would allow me to look across the river and down and upstream. just seemed like a good way to spend some time, see if it, because
Yeah.
we kind of buggered them up pretty good in the place where we were camped. And I climb up to the rim. From camp, I see the spot. It looks like a little pass where I can get through. And I get up there to the base of the rim rock, and where I thought I could get through, it was way worse than I thought it was. But there's a tree there. There's several trees, and I thought, I think I can climb up that tree,
Yep.
step
Okay.
out onto the
I
rim rock,
see. And then go over.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
go up. So I didn't even have a backpack with me. I had a decoy bag that I had some snacks in. And I put
Smart.
my dog in the decoy bag, and we start up this tree. And then I get on the rim rock, and I put her in front of me on the rim rock. And we start working our way up. And the ground below us is a maze of jagged rock. I remember commenting to myself several times, boy, if I was to slip off this thing, I would likely die. You know, it's like a 12-foot drop into this like landscape of rock daggers.
Yeah, yeah. You just like be spiked, you know.
Yeah. And I'm picking her up, setting her up ahead of me, and then shimmying up a little bit. And the next thing you know, I'm going. Like I went from fine to there is no doubt in my mind that I am coming off the son of a bitch. I've got trying to get my fingernails into it, you know.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's a bad place when you're using your fingernails.
yeah. And sure enough, I come slipping off that thing and down into that shit I go, and somehow I miraculously survived. Although my left leg was in excruciating pain. And I didn't know what was going on. But Shifty, my dog, is still up on that cliff.
Yeah.
So up the tree I go, and I get back up, but I'm not going to step out on that rock again. I start calling her, and she won't come to me. She's just shaking and kind of just like terrified. So like, I'm going to have to go all the way around this thing, get up on top, and then try to come down from the top. And I start doing that. And about 15 minutes later, I get a call from my brother. He's back in camp. He's like, why is Shifty back in camp? And why is she limping? She had either fallen or jumped off there.
Yeah.
We're still just like, I have a lot of love in my heart for this little dog. We did everything together. It still breaks my heart to this day to think that she was so terrified or whatever that she jumped off there. And then I hung out up there for a couple hours, and I told them to hunt, and they came up and got me because my foot was my foot more my ankle.
Yeah.
And and now a year and a half, now 2 years later, I think it was 21.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, that foot is still not right.
So I just got to imagine Shifty's seen some things just based on the fact that you told me that you took her out in a backpack in the first place, just hunting, and then you took her up. Like I'm guessing Shifty's been around the block. Seen some things.
Shifty has been with me when I've killed several elk. She has screwed me up royally a couple times, but she's also saved my bacon a couple times by helping me track elk.
Yeah.
She's been with me every time I've gone turkey hunting for the last 7 years. She's been
just
with
keep
me.
her still. Does she just lay down, or how do you work that out?
She kind of gets it. She'll still screw up once in a while. I took this kid turkey hunting a couple weeks ago, and we're tracking these turkeys in the snow, and the wind was coming towards us. They were getting pretty close, and I look down and I'm like, where's Shifty? And I look up, and I see her crest this little hill in front of us, and I see just turkeys just exploding up into the So but it's very rare. That was the first time she screwed me up in a couple of years.
Did you train her to do this, or did you just always take her out and then she just kind of figured out this is the deal?
She's just figured it out. Like I say,
Was there growing
there's no-
pains? Like, did she ever like bark at the beginning and just you tell her not to, or like, how did you make it
never
work?
bark, never bark, never bark.
Really?
Early on in our hunting relationship, this is the worst she ever screwed me up. I'm hunting elk and I'm walking along this trail and I look in front of me. It's a motorcycle trail.
Mhm.
And I see these elk right off the trail. And I'm like, oh, and I hadn't been in that area in a while. And I remembered, oh yeah, that's right. There's a mineral lick there. So I watched this little bull and a couple spikes and there were some cows. And the spikes were chasing these mule deer around this little
Cool.
mineral lick. And after a while they fed off and I heard a bugle and I started going down the mountain towards this bugle. And then I started thinking, dude, there's a pretty damn good chance that bull is going to come right up here. And so instead of going down there and spooking his ass, why don't you just go sit by that lick? And I did. And 20 minutes later, there's a dozen cows, some more spikes moved in, and that bull is coming. It's coming. Every time he bugles, it's louder and louder till I have this like tree off the direction he's coming from right next to me.
Mhm.
And now it's when he bugles, he's so close that I hear him inhale first.
Cool.
And he comes around that tree. He's at 35 yards, and I almost just shot him right then, but it wasn't quite right. But I'm kind of chuckling under my breath because it's such a done deal. I mean, it's all over except the arrow.
Right.
And it would have been probably the nicest bull I've gotten with my bow. But he comes in, he starts chasing those spikes around. And Shifty could handle all of it just fine, but she couldn't handle the chasing. If there's going to be chasing, she needs to be involved.
I get it.
You know?
Yeah.
And these two spikes in that bull get to 15 yards from me, and he's facing me. And I look down, and she's halfway to him. And even then, it would have been fine if I would have just ignored her.
Yeah.
I think it would have been fine. They would have been like, "What's this weird looking fox without a tail?" You know?
Yeah.
But I said, "Shifty, Shifty," and that bull just looked up and peered into my soul.
Yeah, I know exactly that look.
Yeah, and then he ran off. So there's been, and then I did shoot a bull a couple days later, but I had her tied to my backpack when that happened.
I've always wanted to do that.
It's just like, it's kind of stupid. Like, but I spend so much time out there by myself, and she brings me so much joy that it's worth a screw up now and again.
Yeah.
And the screw ups have become few and far between. This one I'm just telling you about, like I say, it's the first time she's screwed us up in a couple of years.
And it's your buddy. You got to bring your buddy. I got a buddy who screws up my hunting all the time. I still take
really?
him with me. You know, it's how it goes. He's not here to defend himself, so I can say whatever I want.
So he's just a situational awareness thing again.
I have a couple friends that are like that. They just kind of like wander around. They just don't really know what's going on. It's
okay.
Like, yeah. No, that's funny. I've always I knew that there was a I think in one of the pictures or something you posted with your dog. I thought that was pretty cool. Like I've got a dog that I'll take. You know, he's great for small game, but like I've tried to take him deer hunting a few times, and he'll see a deer, and that's just it. You know, he's basically lost. He's a hound, so he's not gonna do a real good job of staying quiet.
Right. Yeah.
So, well,
I've always wished that there's two things I wish about dogs. I'm a big animal guy. I got these pack llamas and my dog. I have a barn cat. I just love animals. So I just can't imagine now. Most of my life I didn't have a dog, but then I'm 52 now. I got my first dog as an adult probably 10 years ago. She died pretty young, and now I got Shifty. And I've been thinking, there's two things that could make being a dog owner better. One would be if they could make one that lived 80 years.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
And they gave you it when you were a baby, and that was
Yeah.
your dog for your whole life.
Yep. I get on board with that.
I mean, that could be hell if it turned out to be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you want a good
Like,
dog.
yeah, but if it was like some dog that's like
Yeah, that's right.
they're
Drools a
drooling
lot.
all over the
Yeah.
place, yeah, that sucks. But like a dog like Shifty would be awesome. And then the other thing would be is if you were allowed a 10-minute conversation just once,
Mhm.
where you get to say your piece for 5 minutes and they get to say their piece for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
The things that would come out of that dog's mouth, especially after being with you for 80 years.
Oh, I'd want to have this early in the relationship. So
Yeah.
that we could learn from it.
That's right. You can set some ground rules. You can explain some things, expectations, both sides. Yeah, I could see that. Get
The
on board with that.
more you smell an animal, the more important it is for you to stay close to me.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. Don't take off. Don't freak out. That's the time to really be calm and let me know if you smell it. You know, it'd be handy to know if I could smell a deer coming. You know, save me a lot of time. Well, hey, I know we're coming up on time here, but I
Hey,
guess
that was two hunting stories. I'm an
I know.
overachiever.
Well, I kind of figured you might be. I came in with that expectation. I didn't want to tell you that, so it'd ruin it. You know, I'd basically be directing you. So the fact that you did, I can check that off the list as meeting every bit of thing that I thought. So no, I appreciate you coming on. And actually, I wanted to give you a chance just to tell people where they can find more about you, find out more about you, follow you, figure out how they can help with access issues, like especially the things that you've been thinking about. How can they do that?
Yeah, so maybe there could be a Michigan chapter of Hunters for Access.
Yeah, I love it.
I
More
have
access is good.
I have so there's a Kansas chapter starting up,
Mm-hmm.
and I have several more podcasts. I think might be a Wisconsin chapter in the works,
Okay.
and then I have several more podcast episodes coming up. What I do is I try to find a hunter
Mm-hmm.
to research, to find somebody from the agents, from the Fish and Game Management Agency from the state, and get them to come on, and then we have a discussion about about the history of the program and opportunities for the sportsman to grow the programs.
Yeah.
And that'd be one thing. Maybe one of your listeners or you if you ever were inclined to reach out, find somebody from HAP and have them come on, we could talk about the potential there. We've elaborated our website now to handle as many states as
Perfect.
as possible, as people are, as interest allows. I'm at a point where if I had to give up my hunting advocacy or give up Hunters for Access, I'd give up the advocacy. No doubt about it. I don't know, maybe this thing has legs, maybe just with a little bit. It's like, what it is, I'm thinking it of as more of the hunting community derives from urban centers. They're disconnected from the landowners,
Right.
And this is a mechanism that kind of approximates the old way it used to work, where you help Farmer Smith with his haying and he let you hunt.
Right. Exactly. Yep.
So that's what we're trying to do with this. And I don't know. It's a journey to see what the potential is there. But this sure seems like a humdinger of an idea. And I can say that without tooting my horn because it's not my idea. It's a friend of mine's idea.
Well, yeah, I'm actually just pulled it up now, the Hunter Access Program. We'll see if we can put you in touch with somebody from Michigan here and let you guys talk a little bit.
Yeah, well, if we did, it'd be good if you came on with us or somebody else from Michigan, a hunter from Michigan that hunts the property came on with us. So.
Yeah, absolutely happy to.
Yeah, that could be a good thing. Could be a positive thing. Certainly won't be a negative thing.
Yeah, no, how can that hurt anybody, right?
Yeah.
No, that sounds great. Well, like I said, thank you for taking this time out of your busy day. I know you're up early and had a lot to do. So I do very much appreciate it. And everybody go check this out, give them a follow, and stay up to date on this stuff. It's important. It affects all of us as hunters.
That's right. And we're all connected.
Yeah.
The more opportunity you have in Michigan, the less crowded it is in Montana, and vice versa.
Yep.
You know, we are all hunters in this country are connected.
Mm-hmm.
We really are, and that's a big part of what the message I'm trying to send is: look out for your fellow hunters.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're a community. Like, look out for one another. You don't need to gobble up all the opportunity for yourself. Like, we need to cultivate an attitude of sharing and concern for other hunters. If this
Taking
is
care of each other.
yeah, if this is going to perpetuate into the future, I think that's going to have to play an important role. We're going to have to get over all this like division that's infected every other domain in society, and just rise above it as a community and try to look out for each other.
Yeah, agreed. Well, you're doing a good work, and we appreciate you. And we'll be in touch for sure. Happy to help out how we can.
Okay. Hey, thanks for the opportunity, James.
Yeah, no, thank you. And everybody go check them out. Thanks again for listening. We're excited to keep telling these stories and doing more with you guys. So thanks again.